Alright, now I'm going to be covering goTorrent 0.3.0, which should be released very shortly. There's been a lot of major changes, so we're going to kind of try and cover them as quickly as possible and get you a working version and a few of the settings set up. So, I have created a folder called an opt called goTorrent, doesn't matter where it is, but goTorrent folder, and then I've downloaded the latest release, which will be like goTorrent 0.3.0 Linux 64-bit, or Windows or Mac. A lot of these will transfer kind of over to either or, but let's go ahead and unzip or untar, I should say, this, and that will untar it directly there. Then we can remove goTorrent snapshot, and that gives us these files. And what we're going to do is make sure that we create the goTorrent executable and mark it as executable. And then we can look at the config.toml. There's been some changes here. Server port 8000 by default. You can change it to whatever we want. The server address, you must put in the IP address. It used to be it would automatically grab it, but now that we're generating config, a client connect config, it does have to be added in there. Log level, usually probably Warren would be best if we're running, but info since we're running a debug. Put it to standard out. Seed stop ratio, it'll automatically stop at that. Default move folder, this is where all of your completed downloads are moved. So mount/remote storage/downloads. And it must be single quotes for those. Torrent watch folder, that's just the folder where it looks for .torrent files and adds them automatically. Upload rate, download rate, in case you have an internet where you want to rate limit things. A lot of people won't be using that. goTorrent with the web UI, we'll set it to true for now. Then the web UI password, this is MD5 hash, or no, SHA-256 hashed, and passed in to your config. Pushbolt token, if you want to send your notifications to Pushbolt, enter your Pushbolt token here. Currently, we're working with a few issues where it will, or I'm the only one working on it. Working on a few issues where it will double send, but other than that, it shouldn't be too obtrusive. Proxy enabled. Alright, this is for a reverse proxy. This is not for setting a proxy for if you are routing all your torrent data through a proxy. This is if you want to put it behind like an Nginx reverse proxy. So basically you'd have, yourdomain.com slash goTorrent or whatever you wanted. So that way you wouldn't have to worry about putting in the IP and port and all that sort of thing. Alright. Encryption policy, not a whole lot there. Download directory, this is where it will put all the stuff it is downloading. You can change that to whatever we want. And that's the main things. All this is advanced stuff, some of that isn't currently even used in our thing anyway. So save your config.toml. And what we can do is run goTorrent right now. And you'll see a few of the no tokens database. It means there's no tokens that were created. Or no tokens database found. A lot of them are assuming first run, so it starts generating all those. RSS feed store not found since there's nothing there. So unable to read database in a config file. Blah, if we don't have a config file. So client config being generated. And then it should go up to here. So what we basically want to do is now we can go to our and you'll notice it created a bunch of like torrent uploaded torrents, downloading all the folders it needs right in there. If we go to public, static, and then JS, we'll notice the kick WebSocket generated. and it automatically created a JavaScript connect file for us, putting in our IP address, the port. The client auth string is something that's generated automatically by the server the first time it runs. That since we're using JSON web tokens to authenticate. Then we have login required. That's for the web UI itself. That's true. Client username is admin1, and then our password was password1. It's just SHA-256 into here. And then it'll create a new WebSocket. And then it'll automatically connect to it. So what we can do is go in our web browser, and we can go to 192.168.1.100 port 8000, and boom, we'll automatically get hit with the login here, and it will show everything except for your torrent list. It won't load that until it gets a correct login. Once it does, it will pull it in. Currently we don't have any, so there's nothing to add. So and you can again hit F12 or whatever your console thing is, and it will show. Currently don't really worry about the 404s or the key props. So what we're going to do is add a quick torrent in, and we notice we can add a storage path if we want a separate storage path besides the default path, and we can add a label so we can search by, or sort by label, stuff like that. So we can hit submit there. Then you'll get the response back, and you can see some of the things going on there. And then we can see it's been added and it's starting to download. We're working on making that, or I'm working on making that more visible. So if we go back to 100, we can see we added torrent to client, and then it shows that. Time to download info, blah, 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 blah. And then file storage path, it shows remote source downloads, and then torrent. So, and then downloading all. So as you can see, it just goes on its merry little way downloading. And if we go into peers, we can see the peers still working on cleaning that up. Files, and we currently should have file priority set, so these buttons should now work. And we can force upload torrent, start torrent, stop torrent, delete torrent. If we delete a torrent, we can delete with data, or delete just a torrent. We can change the storage location, we enter a new path here. This is the RSS if you want to add RSS feed in, show RSS or something like that. The settings modal is just has a lot of the basic, and this is a client password, the SHA-256. Then the address, the port, if we're using a proxy, which is false, so the base URL won't show. Logging, this is incorrect. We've got to fix that. And then it scanned folder for torrent files. goTorrent torrent upload, that shows you where it's looking for that. Folder that stores uploaded torrents. So if you add a torrent, it'll put a .torrent file in there. Default move folder and automatic stop seeding ratio. Then the API settings, we're going to be allowing you to generate tokens there. So as you can see, this is downloading. It shows the speed. We've made things a little bit more reliable. You can filter by certain torrents, downloading, seeding, stopped, completed, stop, start, add magnet link, torrent file. And that's pretty much it. We still don't have anything for the speed and logger. I'm probably not going to have the logger file at all. So, and that's the basics for getting that set up, for getting it running. The next thing you can look in is if you want to, you can go into distribution or disk specific files, and you can look at Linux systemd, and that's a goTorrent.service file. And that basically needs the network to go, and it works on the user goTorrent. So you would change ownership of opt-goTorrent to. You have to make sure that goTorrent would have write permissions to everywhere you want to put your torrent files. So that's something to keep in mind. And then there's reverse proxy. I do have an nginx.conf. So if you want, you would have to edit this and then dump this into your nginx, and that would create a reverse proxy for you. And that is pretty much it. Everything we've really have covered. The client auth.txt that is created, that gives you a backup for your. This is the JSON web token right there, if you ever need it. So because those actually, that one is stored in the database, but other than that, they're not stored anywhere if you generate any more for any other third-party clients that might want to connect to it. So, but that's really much about it there. So.